How's it going, guys? Welcome back to yet another episode of Vaughn Coleman Presents. I am, of course, this is a big episode. It's my 50th episode. And, I felt this guy was a worthy person for it because this guy goes by Starmillion on Twitter. Everyone should go follow him if they haven't already. He's promoting everyone all the time. He's like an ambassador for the indie comics. He's great. He's promoted me so many times. It was the least I could do. And I've only seen this. It's like I know him through his profile picture. That's about it. So it's going to be good getting to know him. But his campaign is here. But before we talk about him, of course, I got to be selfish. I got to talk about myself. So let's talk about what seems to be kind of taken off. I mean, in the sense that it's a lot of signups. My comic book, Phenomenova, we have passed actually 525 signups. And yeah. So what's it about? Well, Phenomenova is set 20 years after World War III and follows this teenage boy who was the son of a World War III veteran who is struck by lightning while holding a mysterious crystal. And he finds himself awakening with lightning powers and lightning speed to come with it. He can channel the lightning into super speed or use it in many other applications. So naturally, admiring the superheroes that came before him, you could see some of them right here, he decides he wants to become a superhero. So he puts on a makeshift costume and he strikes out on his own to fight a villain at a nuclear reactor. But he finds himself in way over his head when this villain is totally out of his league. So he goes by the name Galvanite. But obviously you could see his costume is not worthy of the name. And it's like he has this heroic ideal he's building towards, but he hasn't quite reached it. In an age of constant deconstructions of superheroes, I wanted this to be a reconstruction, a reconstitution of what makes this genre so special. It's going to be launching on March 29th, so check it out. And this right here, this beautiful art, this trading card will only be available for people on the campaign. So make sure you sign up. For some reason, that's not showing here. Make sure you sign up. And without further ado, guys, link should be in the description. Link is in the chat. And enough about me. Let's bring in our wonderful guest, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, no, thanks for coming. It's a pleasure. I'm glad to talk about your book with you. It looks fantastic and unique too, which, is always a good sign. It's I like it. It's a black and white book. It's cool. But before we get into that, I always like to get to know the creators themselves. First of all, where do you hail from?
I'm originally from London, but living in Scotland now. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
I was born in London,
change.
actually.
Oh, nice. Whereabouts?
I'm not exactly sure because I didn't live there long. I have no memories of it. So, but I am a citizen of the UK.
Oh, nice. Happy to have you.
Yeah, well, I'll have to go and make memories there since I don't have any. But so what got you? I guess I want to start. I always like to start by asking, what got you into comics?
It was on and off relationship. Kind of started with my dad. He was a big collector, big reader. He bought me my first comic and read it to me when I was like 5. It was Captain Carrot and the Zoo Crew. I don't have it anymore because I was a terrible child for keeping anything safe. Like I would have a fortune in Pokemon cards if I had just looked after them, but I didn't. So yeah, no, that's what started it. It kind of fell out of love with comics in high school. Just other things kind of took over, girls, football, all of that sort of stuff. And then yeah, what really drew me back in was Walking Dead. Issue 1 came out. Me and my friend just somehow we got hold of it, read the first issue, and it just pulled me straight back in. Not so much him, but yeah, I was in it then, and I started going back to all the old Batmans, picked up the Grant Morrison's JOA, and since then it's just been pretty non-stop. And yeah, that's how I got into comics.
That's awesome, man. That's such a cool. I love hearing those kinds of stories for how people got into comics. I haven't heard of Captain Carrot. I'll have to look into that one. But it's interesting. So The Walking Dead, I haven't read the comics yet. I know a lot of the spoilers because I was one of those people that would look stuff up and be like, I'll get around to reading the comics, and then never did.
Oh, fair.
But I do intend to.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worth it.
I heard that because the show I felt took a huge nosedive in quality halfway through season 8, especially. But I'd say it started before that. And I was just like, I just lost interest. They killed off my favorite character. That didn't help.
Who was your favorite character?
All right, well, is it? Am I allowed to? All right, season 7, episode 1.
Is that with Negan? Yeah.
Yeah, my
Uh,
favorite character. So
that's
mad. I
fair.
was so mad. But it was a. I kept going, and then they lost me. They lost. I think when you kill off the everyman, often I just felt like I couldn't relate to a lot of. I felt they killed off a lot of the characters that I related to most.
Yeah,
And
like I personally like I fell off around about the same time. I think just after the whole Negan thing, I stopped. What me and my wife just we were like, this is just
it was
it's
too
the
much. It was a
first
misery
yeah,
fest.
the first episode is always great, and then
Oh,
the
the
rest of
first
the
episode is
season,
amazing.
yeah, rest of the season is just like meh, and then the last episode's great. So it's like you sit through all of it just to watch essentially like 2 episodes. But yeah, no, my favorite character was Carl, and
Oh, that was when I dropped the show. You know what? We'll spoil it because they've spoiled the show by doing that. Humble greetings to Master Coleman. Oh, Master Coleman. Well, thank you. I have to start using that more. And Star 1 in a Million. Tunes ears and eyes in. How you doing?
you're
Hey,
right,
Akuma.
Kyle.
Look at all these people. Yeah, Kyle's always promoting me. He's great. I love his profile picture. Is so perfect too. I don't. It's just like the guy looking at his phone. It's perfect. But because it's like he's always looking at his tweet. It's perfect. I love. It's a great profile picture. Um, so yeah, I mean, I just Carl, I was my first thought was okay, so the actor quit or something because I was like, there's no way any rational person would think this is a good storytelling decision. Apparently that wasn't the case. Apparently they actually thought this was a good idea, and then I stopped watching for like a year, and then I came back to the episode after like a year or so later, and I was like, nope, still not good. I just still thought it
Nice.
was stupid. They didn't win me over. I lost it. They lost me.
But that's like because obviously I was reading the comics before like the season, like I was well ahead in the comics, and
Mhm,
they changed so many things. I guess a lot of it was like, okay, you can't show that on TV,
mhm.
but Cole, like in the comics, he's like just a badass man.
Yeah.
He's like he's got some lines which have stuck to me to this day, like. So yeah, if you get the chance, definitely read it because it paints him in a whole different light.
Yeah, I mean, how did the comics 'cause I know they didn't correct me if I'm wrong, they didn't really announce an ending to The Walking Dead, right? It just kinda ended.
Yeah, it just well, I'm sure there was some sort of announcement somewhere, but it just like kind of all just wrapped up, and
Was it a good ending?
it was okay. Like
No.
that's the thing. I've got fonder memories from the beginning. Like obviously, a lot of my friends we would all be sitting around like two of us would read it and then we'd hand them over to two of our other friends and then they'll read it and then the four of us would sit there and just chat about what actually happened. But yeah, no, some of the earlier stuff is just it's like shocking. It just catches you and yeah, it hooks you straight in. I'm very happy that it was what brought me back to comics.
It sounds like it was a great show, man. Yeah, I gotta there's so much stuff I intend to read. That's up there. And I think that's a problem with comics in general is they don't know how to end. Um,
Yeah,
and I mean, I guess that's translating to other media too. Franchises keep being brought back over and over and over again. But it's also something special about comics in that you can keep going and going and going with the same characters doing new things. So it's kind of
yeah,
like how you apply it.
yes. It's like I'm all for continuity. So as long as they keep things like yeah, obviously I understand they have to change it up sometimes, move with the times and whatnot. But yeah, no, I'm a stickler for continuity. So
Mhm.
if they change it up too much, you kind of fall out of it, which has happened a few times.
Oh yeah.
But I see, I know what they're doing. It, they got to keep going, especially when you look at the big two, like their main
Mhm.
focus characters. Like they can't just keep telling the same things. Like they got to add something in to draw in new people. But yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to do with mine. hopefully I can end it well.
That's
but
good. Well, you got to start well, right? That's the thing. You always got to
well,
start well.
yeah, start strong foot.
I remember Frank Miller. There's this quote I keep watching because I realized it. He goes, "You have to know the ending of your story." And I go, "Do I?" And I kind of do. I have like a backdoor ending and then a couple of other, but like they all thematically end on the same place. So I know how I could end my comic, but we got to start things first, right? That's always the obviously you have to know how to end issue one, and you don't get a second first impression too. That's the other thing. With the big two, it's like if you have a monthly deadline, like Chris Claremont had this thing he said he was like, if we had a bad issue, it's okay. We had 30 days to make a better one.
Yeah, and we don't have that luxury.
No, no, we
This
don't. You
mine's
missed the
taken
boat.
like 2.5
Yeah.
years, so
Oh, okay. So I'm
it's slow.
normal then for how long I'm taking a very long time. But so, what are your favorite comics then?
Well, it was the Grant Morrison at JLA. Like, I read, like, I've got I've got 6 of the volumes, which I kind of just read one summer holiday in Spain, like lying on a beach, and yeah, that I loved that. You got Batman New 52,
Mhm.
Scott Snyder, Greg Capel, Paulo. Terrible with names, apologies, but
Okay.
yeah, no, that was a great run. Currently reading the Fantastic Four Jonathan Hickman run.
Yeah, I've heard that run is amazing.
Yeah, like it's like I'm encouraging my son to read a lot more so we can have more reading time in the evenings, so I can actually sit there and read it a lot earlier and then waiting for everyone to go to bed. Yeah, so obviously Walking Dead, Sandman. I really enjoyed Sandman as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I'm a bit all over the place. If it's a good story, good art, like pretty much there for it, man. Like
That's good.
it's like I got Flashpoint was one of the first trades that I bought, and
Oh wow, that's late in the game then. For how long you were a comic fan, it took that long to get a trade.
yeah,
This
like
was one of my first two, but it was I don't know. It was like within probably my first year reading comics. I read Flashpoint.
oh nice, yeah,
It was
and
newer at the time.
yeah, I can't remember what year I got it. But when I got it, like I read it and then I read it again. And then I called up my friend, and he this is a different friend. He doesn't read comics, but he had watched a animated uh, film of it.
Oh
And I
yeah, I've
was
seen that
like,
too. I
yeah,
really like the animated film. Actually, I think they did a very good
yeah.
job.
No, yeah, it's like DC went quite strong with the animated translations. Like I haven't read the Under the Red Hood, but I watched it, and I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, this this is great.
Yeah,
Um,
I haven't read the comic. I've been meaning to. But yes, I've seen the movie so many times. I keep. It's fun, really funny. I was just talking about this yesterday, and I was also talking about. You mentioned Scott Snyder's run. The thing with that is, because I was getting into comics in the New 52, and they had done with comics where they threw everything else out. And I remember being in a weird spot because I was just getting in, and I was like, well, all the media that like all the Batman media that the stuff I like is based on is back here. Now they're saying it's not. So I was like, I guess I'll just read the old stuff. And so I was turned off by the new. But a lot of people, although I did get some New 52 stuff, I like the Aquaman. Batman, I remember the first New 52 Batman issue I read. And part of why I didn't get into New 52 Batman was honestly I didn't like Damian. Yeah, I just thought I
okay.
loved Tim Drake. But part of me, I know I missed out on one of the greatest runs, and it could have been one of those runs that I tell my kids I was reading that when it was coming out. But because I read one bad issue, which comes back to our point, it was Mr. Freeze's origin. Did you ever read that issue? They ruined Mr. Freeze as a character.
I can't even remember if I did, to be honest.
Horrendous. And I
Like,
just assumed it was all like that. They made Mr. Freeze, they removed his sympathetic backstory, made him a psychopath who never even knew Nora. Horrible.
oh yeah, no, like there's some things that you don't check. But this is like what I was saying about the continuity with certain things. Like if it's not broke, you
Don't
don't
fix
need to
it.
fix it. Yeah. So no, like that. He was always a great character, especially in the animated.
The animated series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he always was. I think the animated series made him one. Uh, yeah. Let's see. Good to see you promoting comics with your son. Yeah, that's really cool. Promoting comics is quite the task, but it's something we all have to do. So, who are your favorite writers then?
Uh, I read Hickman's Avengers, which is why I've went back to Fantastic Four because they all kind of come together. I do like the kind of grand storytelling that he
Mhm.
does. Robert Kirkman, obviously, his storytelling in The Walking Dead pulled me straight back to comics. So he's always got a special place. And the Grant Morrison JOA, they're probably like I do like obviously Neil Gaiman with the Sandman, but sometimes his prose just like it feels like I'm reading like a book sometimes.
Mhm.
So even though it's beautiful to look at, it's like I'm feel like I'm being torn between the words and the pictures. But yeah, no, probably Kirkman is my favorite writer with The Walking Dead, and then Hickman just because of what he does, like just the way he builds stories and yeah, it's like little bits of information here, there, and everywhere. And I try to do something similar in in mine, like so. Yeah,
That's interesting. You know, I tried getting into Hickman through Hickman's X Men, and I was reading Claremont stuff for the first time. I'm almost done with the run. I keep getting distracted and working on comics instead of reading as much. And man, I really didn't like a lot of the creative decisions. I think he is objectively a good writer, but there were so many out of character things with the X Men. I just felt like the X Men were destroyed by Krakoa beyond the point of no return. Like I don't think the X Men can come back
that's the,
from little I read.
like it had moments where I was like, damn, like, but then it was a big shift up. Like I didn't really like what they did with Professor X,
He's
and
like a horrible person now.
yeah, like I know he wasn't always the best person, but it's like it always seemed like he had the best intentions at heart. Where yeah, he they kind of just disappear, and he's not a nice person in the new ones. But he dropped off that, didn't he? And then they replaced him with well, I haven't kept up to date with it to be honest. I'm to be fair, there's only a very few like new comics I'm reading at the moment, like
Yeah.
Alien, Transformers. I am reading his Ultimate Spider-Man, and
Oh, is that good? Let me write down some of the current stuff. So, I heard Ultimate Spider-Man, uh,
Transformers.
Conan. I heard the Conan is amazing, and Transformers.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
heard
I've been
Conan
so
is amazing.
into like my to read pile is so huge that it's like I gotta just read more, man. I gotta just read more. Maybe I should read some stuff tonight.
That's the thing. I want to read more, but then when I'm reading, like I'll start reading, and I'll be like, oh, I really should be writing, or
Yes, yes, yes.
or lettering. So it's like I'm sitting there like, okay, I'll read for half an hour, and then next thing I know, I'm like writing for like 2-3 hours, lettering for 2-3 hours. So
So you do your own lettering?
yeah, that's been an experience learning how to do that because
Yeah.
I've no background in art whatsoever, but
Oh, neither do I.
I wanted something. I wanted like bar obviously the story and the idea and everything, like because I haven't drawn it, and if I did, it would look terrible. So, but I wanted something that I could do, like that I could see on the page, which would be like, yeah, I did that. So learned how to lettered the first 20 pages, looked back at it, was like, so I need to redo all of these, and redid them all, and watched copious amounts of YouTube videos on
Explaining it.
pretty much, yeah, and learning how to. I've never used Photoshop before, so
Never?
sitting there, no, so that's been a whole like literally. I've had like 2 courses I've taught myself: Photoshop, lettering, and luckily they're combined. So yeah, no, it's been an experience, but I think I'm getting there. Like,
Yeah. Starting up, I think, is the tough part because I thought, oh, I'll write the script. That's it. But no, you don't have the constant rewriting, uh, finding a printer. I just learned about all these printer things I had no idea about. Your camera's doing something. Oh, there you go.
Yes, yes. There's a lot of hills around here that I,
Okay.
yeah, Wi-Fi camera.
It's
Hopefully
okay.
it doesn't happen again.
Well, let's go ahead and play this trailer then, and then we'll talk about your book because I'm really interested in seeing. We talk all this comics. I'm interested in seeing what it's about.
Yeah, no worries.
Awesome. So I have my computer does this weird thing where I have to like browse Kickstarters in a different thing for some reason. I don't know why my PC does that, but here we go. Um, so first of all, I will say for a comic like this, so 32 pages, so that's pretty good size. And on top of that, so black and white, and when we look at the printing costs, I mean, or not the printing costs, I'm sorry, the it's £7, which is about $9. I mean, that is a crazy good deal for especially for an indie comic. That's
See,
like
yeah, it's I didn't want to, like, I'm very much of the sense of like I don't want to charge too much like for anything. Wait, hey Jolly,
how you
with
doing,
it being
Johnny?
obviously my first comic, like I want people to take that risk on me to like give it a shot. And yeah, no, I always look at it from the buyer's point of view as well, and like what I'll buy and kind of thing. So if it prices me out, and then like it'll price other people out. So I always kind of just want to keep things fair, and hopefully it makes more people want to grab a coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I mean, it's yeah. I the pricing was something that it was like I had to come to terms with because I want to charge as little as I can, but then sometimes it's like, man, you have to charge
But
whatever
yeah,
amount you do.
like I've don't want to say cut corners, but obviously with lettering it myself, keeping it in black and white. There's only one cover. I don't have an editor, but I've got like a friend who basically is reading through it and is just like, like essentially doing the editing job, though he's not even an editor himself. So it's just one of those things where like I've still spent a lot on it because obviously I want to pay the artist a fair rate, and we've got a, if we manage to make any profit on it, we've got a profit sharing thing in place for it later on because without Julio, it just wouldn't be happening. So, and yeah, like 9 times out of 10, I'll share a page and people are just like, "Oh, the art's incredible," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's not me. That's the Studio Paparado, and he's great. He's a bit shy.
Oh,
He doesn't want to do any streams or chats, and he doesn't have social media. So yeah, he's I think
just
he always."
today I had someone tell me like, "Oh, Vaughn's a good artist." I'm like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not. My artist is a good artist.
Yeah.
I'm not."
So
They just assume it though because they don't know the difference. They just kind of
yeah,
if they
that's
see
the
something
thing.
visual and they're like, "Oh, you must have done that." It's like, man, I would save a lot of money if I did that,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it'd also be less time, right? So
Well, that's definitely the thing, isn't it? It's like all credit. Like when I watched your stream with Ken yesterday, obviously, like with him being a writer and a drawer, like
and every
it, everything else. Yeah, I know it does save money, but like the time, like, and obviously time is money. So yeah, it does eat up a lot of it. But I would have loved to have been able to have drawn it myself, but I just do not have that talent. Like I made the video, which was again something brand new to me. So yeah, a lot of this has been learning. I'm just hoping I've done enough that people will enjoy it, and because it's a 4-part series, so it will only be 4 parts, and then
Oh,
it'll
okay.
actually come out as like one full or graphic novel length kind of thing. So, and then I've got like 4 other stories which all link to Orium, and possibly if I can kind of do like a what Mark Miller's done with the big game, like kind of throw it all together at the end for an, another series.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's really cool, man. It looks great. The book looks fantastic. So before, oh, wait, I did want to pull up Kyle's comment. Continental noir art vibe. The action has weight and impact. Cool title, seductive and iconic cover. This guy's great with the compliments. First of all, love it.
Yeah,
You should be a writer, man.
Carl's been like he's great. Like he's been there from for
Yeah.
months now. Like
Oh,
always
as
sharing
Twitter can
everything.
be. Oh, I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, no, just praising Carl.
Oh yeah. As annoying as Twitter can be, you guys like make it worth it with all the positive sharing, and I know it's like genuine. It's great. It's
Yeah,
really
that's
great.
what I wanted. Like I'd seen so much when I first came into it. Like there was so much drama everywhere. Like
Oh,
there still is. But like I feel like I've created, at least for me, like a nice little corner where people are positive. They share
hmm,
their work, and I get to see great art. I get to read great
yeah.
stories, and I get to share that with other people who seem to be pretty much like minded. But yeah, if you're in the drama, go for it. But I think I had my first bit of drama today. Like
Oh man.
someone shared. Like I had seen this comic on a Facebook post, and it's a completely AI. So he's wrote it, but it's then went through the AI machine, and
Mm.
like I am against that because like obviously like comics it's the artist is what makes the comic. Like you could be the best writer in the world, but you need the artist to kind of tell that story. And yeah, no, it just takes away from it. And I thought I was quite polite. I was like,
Oh,
AI.
you made that mistake. You said something on the internet.
Yeah, I was like,
You
thanks for
don't do that.
sharing. I was like, thanks for sharing, but I don't promote AI comic books. And
I
next
got
thing I know, I got a copyright strike, which I've never had on Twitter before, like ever. Like, so a whole like I sent this message, put my phone down because me and my wife were watching Mission Impossible. Pick my phone back up. First thing that comes up, your account is suspended. I was like, what the fuck? uh, and then it was like read through the policy, agree to our policy, and you will unlock your account. Did all of that. Didn't tell me what was copyright struck. Didn't get an email about it. uh, all I know is that I just blocked that person. I was like, that
wow.
is the only thing I've ever done differently on here, where I've actually kind of said to someone, sorry, I don't promote AI books, and then that happened. So yeah, I just blocked that person, kind of put it out there. Has anyone else ever had this? And no, not many people have. So
That's ridiculous.
yeah,
Yeah, that's insane, man. It's so ridiculous. I mean, listen. I got crap today for just saying I backed the book.
oh
They're like,
what?
"Well, did you like the trailer?" And I'm like, we're like, they're like, blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, I just wanted to say I backed the book, and like,
Yeah, no, I don't. I could like what you like, back what you want to back. Like it's no one else's business, kind of thing.
yeah,
I don't get the whole the flag waving for like certain sides of whatever you want to be. I'm
mm,
happy to share anyone's book as long as it's not like blatantly like offensive to anyone.
mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah, no,
I,
I'm kind of the same way, man. I think, and that's obviously all like depending on the individual and individual tastes. But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, we're all into this for creating good comics, and I think that's really important. So I think one of the things I wanted to ask you right away is, we've got this book right here, and I'm curious, what is it about? What is it-
so. this first part is basically it's just introducing you to the main character, Robert. You do find out like some sinister things has happened to this guy, and the iron he doesn't have iron in his blood. He has something called Orium,
Oh,
which is the original like where all our iron came from. And eventually down the line, I don't mind saying it because it kind of explains the whole concept of it. Is Orium is where our consciousness came from.
oh,
So basically, the electrical uh, firings in your brain, it all comes from Orium, and over time, it got the plate. It obviously became weaker and weaker as we increased and our population grew. So it wasn't as pure and became iron. But Robert has like pure Orium inside of his blood. So yeah, lets him do pretty cool stuff. And but yeah, we need to find out if it's good or bad because he's got some people saying to him, listen, you can save the world. And then there's a voice, a mysterious voice talking to him from the future saying, no, don't trust him. So
oh. So it's so he's what kind of so to start with, he's what kind of guy? So he's
you don't know anything about him. The first time you meet him, he's running down a corridor, just escaped from an electric chair that you see him in. And yeah, there's not a lot of backstory to him just yet. Like I've got it all. Like I know exactly who he is and how he's got to that point. But for the time being, it's kind of like a little bit like Momentum, the Christopher Nolan
oh
film,
right. So he's a
where it's like,
mysterious character, but he's on death row.
uh, in a way, like they need his blood to save the
Oh,
world.
okay.
So if they can
So
get his blood, they can save the world.
so it's gonna just thrust right into the action.
Yeah, it just throws you in there, and then it just asks you lots of questions, gives you some answers, gives you a few things just to tease you as you go along. There's a nice, yeah. It's difficult to say without like spoiling future
Right.
things, but yeah, no, I've kind of painted it as like a dark sci-fi thriller, so hopefully it'll keep people on the edge of their seats. But the main whole point of it is all the stuff, like because I've written a lot of short stories and whatnot, and it's like all my stories revolve around hope in some way or another, and it's either Robert doesn't have much hope, but he's kind of fighting to hold on to it, and yeah, so it's very emotional.
I bet. Yeah, I mean, I think hope is so I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part?
Yeah, no, basically all my stories just revolve around hope, whether
Yeah,
that's be someone trying to hold on to it, someone trying to get it back. Like it's always like everyone needs hope, and
I think it's a beautiful theme, man. I hope is one of the most I like stories that even when they're dark have I don't like nihilistic stories. I really don't because I just I don't think that they're I think that they're missing something usually is the conclusion I come to because I'm just I guess it's just because it's inherently not what I believe in because I guess hope. But so I always like having thematic purposes in stories. Um, and hope is a beautiful theme, man. So I'm excited. I mean, one of my favorite movie is The Shawshank Redemption. That gives me
oh, nice.
my thoughts on hope. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah, no, like there's like a whole scene in the comic where basically the voice in his head is telling him like, look, you got to kill this person. Like if you don't kill this person, like that's it. Like it's over. You're stuck. But he like flat out, he's like refuses to do it. He doesn't want to become that kind of person.
right.
And but yeah, that's in like the first couple of pages, so it doesn't give anything away. But it's essentially that it's everyone's trying to tell him that he needs to do something, but he's just trying to do the right thing.
I love. I mean, I love characters like that. Obviously, that's. I mean, look, I'm writing a superhero story. You know, I think often, I think one of the most important things when it comes to character writing, right, is giving your characters decisions to make. Giving them whether intentional or not. You as the writer and your characters are always making decisions and making sure you know why you're. If you go, they have to get to point A to point B, but it doesn't make sense for the character to do insert thing, which that's typically bad writing. You have to make sure that every decision makes sense. I hate when movies are like, well, that didn't make sense, but like the character did it anyway, so that way you can get to this, or like inconsistent character writing.
Yeah.
It can be, but it's tough. It's easier said than done, oftentimes, which is
No,
why. Did you do like? Because I did do character write ups. I make sure I know my character inside and out. So, and then it's important to have other people read it, because what may be consistent to you may not be consistent objectively or even to the audience, and so you have to make sure it reads clear.
yeah, no, it's like I know who Robert is and I know where he's going, and a lot of it. The good thing about Robert is that he doesn't essentially really know who he is, so he just knows that he wants to be good, because of some bad stuff that has happened to him. So he's just trying to be a good person and do what's right. And so I actually was struggling with a page today that I was lettering, because it was a kind of thing where I was like, why is he doing this? Like, but like I know why he's doing it, but it's like, how do I make sure that that whoever's reading it also knows why he's doing it? But it played around with it, like got it all to fit together. So no, it's it is something that I struggled with. It's probably one of the reasons why it's taken me so long to do that, and obviously paying the artist. I was getting like 1 to 4 pages done a month by the artist, so as and when. But it also gave me enough time to kind of really like beat the story into where I wanted it to be, and learn about how I want it to go. So yeah, no, my friend's given me pretty decent feedback on it. Like my wife has as well, but I'm pretty sure she's biased. So
yeah, that's why
yeah,
you always got to make sure that you get someone who's going to just rip into you. It's why I do generally recommend an editor. I'm biased because I am an editor. Like that kind of stuff is helpful, because you want someone who's going to be. You want someone to almost like scare you into telling a good story. Or someone who's going to call you out, because it's important. And what's great is that, and even outside of that, having fellow creatives to talk to for hours on end about, like I remember even like not that long ago, like my friend Rini, so she has Fiendish 2.5. She sent me the book. She's like, all right, give me your thoughts. I'm like, here's this, here's this, here's this. And then we get on a call, we just talk about the book. Like that kind of stuff, those kinds of things are always super helpful. And I'm not even editing it. It's just your friends talking.
yeah.
But also with edited books, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, no, my friend sent it to. He's as much as I love him, he is brutally honest.
That's good.
So
it is good.
yeah, no, it's perfect, because he, like I said, he's almost like a free editor. Because yeah, he's just like, what, like he just says it a lot ruder than I could imagine an editor saying it. He's just like, what is going on here? This makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like,
but you need someone to tell me that. Like if you can't answer basic plot questions when someone asks, that's a problem. Now the tough part is when you have the answer, because it seems like you have a character with a mysterious past. Now that is often really annoying to market, when you don't want to reveal something, but you have to, which means you have to have some kick-ass art, be very charming, and you have to know what you want to say. Like you have to say just enough to get them into reading more, right? Like all right, Wolverine, we didn't know his backstory for the longest time, but what did we know? Okay, he's got these adamantium claws. He's got a mysterious past. And we learn bits and pieces. Oh, he used to do some work for the military. He used to, who is he? He's a guy, he's not no nonsense, smoking cigars. He's short, but he's tough. Like those traits are enough to sell the character, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that oftentimes when you have a character with a mysterious past, you want to really focus on those things. Mike Barron was giving me some great advice. He was like, again, he's very brutally honest. He's like he first asked me what my story is about. I gave him a log line. He goes, no, don't give me that log line crap, or something along those lines. He sends me an article and he's like, this is how you pitch a story. And so then I pitch it. He goes, good. He goes, now here's what I do. Too many adjectives, remove those. You want to instead, like, he gives great, And that comes from, and one of the frustrating things is I'm always like, why am I not there? Why are all these other people getting books out faster? It's because I don't know anything and I have to learn everything, which means I have to mess up everything to
Yeah.
learn it, you know? But so I wanted to ask, so what made you decide you wanted to write and produce your own comics?
I've wanted to tell stories my entire life. When I was at school, I went and saw the. That's the thing. I went to see the what are they called, like the careers advisor, and I was like, yeah, I want to tell stories. Like I was like, whether that be like writing a book, a comic book, making a film, like that's what I want to do. I have all these thoughts in my head, like I want to put them out there. And then he was like, no, you should go work on a building site. And I was like, cool, follow my dreams. Yeah. Went and worked on a building site, didn't achieve much. Fell into working at the Science Museum in London. And literally, I had so much free time there. Like, the only times it's busy during summer holidays and like all the different half terms, which are like little breaks for the schools. Like, that's the only time it's busy. The rest of the time it's dead. So I just started writing. And this Orium started out as a 4-page comic, which I was gonna do as something over here. You can send it over to Future Shock. So I was looking at that, but I was like, no, I want to tell a bigger story, and yes, then that's where it all kind of started from. So yeah, like with my love of reading comic books, I was like, I cannot draw this, but I feel like I could write a good story for it. And actually, the first comic book story I wrote, like just kind of messing around, was a Batman, a Flash, and a Booster Gold crossover. And I was looking at DC had something running where they were looking to take on interns, kind of thing. I was like, oh, if I could put this together, but it's yeah, didn't get around to doing it. So I just thought, no, I'm going to make my own one and see how to do that. Had no idea where to find an artist, how to market it, anything like
You
that.
learn all of these things. And that means, and because it's like you write a script. I don't know if this is what it was like for you. And you're like, you finally feel good, or maybe you don't because writers always beat themselves up. And you're like, how do I find an artist? And it's like every time I think I'm getting the handle of something, I get to the next phase, and I'm like, printing. It's every step. It's like you think you know something, and next time I think it'll be a lot cleaner.
Yeah,
But the first
like
time it's taking a minute.
yeah. No, I'm literally starting to print it. Looking at the printers and everything next week. I've still got like a while to run on. That's why I set it for 40 days, just to give me enough time to get everything sorted. But yeah, no, I'm starting the printing journey next week, so that's going to be fun. I found my artist on Fiverr, like,
Oh yeah.
and it took a while, like, to find someone who was good, who had the style that could match the story, and who was real, and that wasn't just going to con me out of a load of money.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. That
so
was it.
there's
I
always a
had people like that were sending me pages like, this is my artwork. I remember one of the most egregious ones they sent, this is my artwork, and it was like a John Byrne page or like a George Perez, something like that, like a manga page and like a Jorge Jimenez page. And they're like, these are, I drew these. I'm like, no, you didn't.
like, why are you lying to me? Yeah,
At
like,
least do consistent arguments. I'd be like, oh, so you did this page? Yeah. Did you do the coloring? Did you do the pencil? Like, which part of it? And they wouldn't answer the questions. I'm like, yeah, exactly. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
yeah, I get a few DMs still from artists being like buy a commission from me, and I'm just like,
Oh yeah.
uh, like, I'm sure you've got great work, and I'll happily promote you. Like send me over some stuff, and I'll put it out there. But like, I got 2 kids, like rent, food to buy, like pages that I've already got someone I'm working with, like, and I just confirmed with him today that he's gonna stay on for all 4 issues. So Yeah, so because like I said before, consistency is like a big thing for me. Like, and I'm never too keen when they switch up artists like throughout a run. So yeah, no,
Mhm.
happy that he's staying on for the four, and for the next one is set in a completely different, like it's a completely different story. So it's still going to have Orium in it, but it's not. It's going to be a whole different time period, different genre. So I don't know if I'll continue with Julio then, but I'll see what he can do. He's talented enough that I reckon he could pull off.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah. I mean, I love hearing those kinds of stories. So my question is, are you done? Is the book done? How far along is it? Because I know you mentioned you were
Yeah,
left.
no, it's done. Literally sent me through the last page today after a few tweaks to it. I'm lettering that tomorrow. So yeah, it's essentially completely done. I will go back for it, reread it, notice all the little things where I'm like, right, that needs to be changed, that needs to be moved with all the lettering aspects. Luckily enough, I've not got too many sound effects in there because like I love sound effects in comic books, but I just do not have that skill yet to
Yeah,
create some of those amazing sound effects.
that's awesome.
Like, so, but yeah, no, it's probably like over this next week. I'm just going to be going back through it all. But yeah, no, it was one of the things before I even like kind of got this. Like I've been working on this now for 2 years, 2.5 years, and it's like I didn't even want to put up the Kickstarter page until I knew I had a book there just from all the things I'd heard where people have backed the book and
And waited forever,
yeah,
or not gotten
yeah,
it at all.
yeah, like and it, to be one of that was one of the things that kind of puts me off certain books as well, where I'm like it looks great, I love the concept that they've got, I love the artwork that they got, but then like I go to back it, I see with the delivery date it's like next year, and it's just like, dude, as much as your work is amazing, like I'm gonna forget about it. Like,
Yeah.
and like I would hope that yeah, I'll still get that email come through being like, here's your comic, or like the package comes through the door. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's I was very much of the thought of no, I want to get it completed before I uh, get that going. So
Yeah, absolutely. I have my book mostly done. I was gonna have it fully, but I kind of realized that I'm gonna be promoting for like let's say 30 days at least plus Kickstarter. Well, during that time I could be in production. And so that was part of the reason why I decided to launch earlier, is because I felt like it would actually make otherwise it'd be waiting longer and then waiting longer. And that's part of why I decided to. But I totally understand. Like I was firmly of the mindset, especially if I'm doing a first product, we have to, I think you don't expect people to pay too much before you do it. And I think you made the right call.
yeah, it's like I said, keep the price down, have it ready pretty much. Like I've got it set for that people will receive everything in May, just for shipping essentially to get things out across over to America. But I am working with some guys at Bent Box Comics, um, and basically I'll be sending them like a huge package, and then they'll be sending that out from there, which is keeping some of the shipping costs
Oh,
down
so
of one
Bent
of the
Box
tiers.
is not your company?
No, no, it's a guy called Chris and John, and but I spoke with them like months and months ago now. They're great guys and they've got great books themselves. So eventually, what it'll be like is once they've got a printer sorted out there properly for like Orium 2, 3, and 4, I would just be sending them the PDF and they'll be sending it out from there. So the shipping would be even lower, hopefully. And then the same for when they've got to sell books over here. Pretty much, they'll send them over to me and PDFs to me. I'll get them printed and shipped out. It's just one of those things where obviously shipping is such a killer, and I obviously the signed copies that I'm doing, the shipping is more because I need to sign them and then send them to America and whatnot. But it's yeah, no, I don't like how much it is. Like I'm not cheap, but it's like I don't like overcharging people for stuff. But yeah, no, so it's just a way of kind of keeping it at a fair price for everyone.
That's great, man. So you had that's really cool. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm trying to get things to keep at a lower price, and it's so much easier said than done. Like even just yesterday, I was doing calculations. I'm like, oh my god. So the fact that you found a way to work, I might have to be in contact with you about that.
Yeah,
But are they
no,
based in the UK?
no, they're based in, I believe they're based in Florida.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so you send it over to them, and they publish it for you, or they.
That's what it will be. It's not going to be the case on this one. For this one, I'll be sending them just like I'll be printing them myself and sending them over in
Right.
like a huge box, and then they'll take them to some. They go to a lot of conventions, so they'll be sent
Oh, that's awesome.
conventions as well. And then, but also um, for the site, like yeah, it's just a way of keeping it down. But eventually, we'll be doing it where it'll be a case of I'll just send them a PDF. They'll be able to print it out and send it straight from there. Obviously, all the shipping money that I get via the Kickstarter, they'll get sent. So it's like it's not costing them anything to do it, just their time, which eventually I'll repay with my time doing it the same with their books over here. And but obviously, if whatever happens. Like I'm very much of the thing of pay people for what they do. So yeah, I, I don't mind paying them to actually ship them out if there's like a copious amount of orders to get out there.
Absolutely. That's very cool. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. I mean, because marketing, oh my God, is that the toughest part? I think I mean, I'm good at talking about myself, but it's also the problem is I get sucked into it too much where it's like, now I got to work on it. Now I got to, it's a constant, and it definitely gets in the way of writing and all the
Yeah,
creative stuff.
like I'm only really like doing any marketing on Twitter, and that's just it's essentially everyone on there is amazing, but it's like I need to branch out to like Instagram.
Hmm.
Um, I looked at Facebook. I just don't think Facebook is a place to do that sort of things. You need an audience before you can kind of do stuff on Facebook. It feels like because you can set up a fan page or like a page for like for Orium, but it's just not gonna until I can tell people go here. Like no one's gonna just go there, kind of thing. So I don't think TikTok's meant to be pretty good at it, but
Yeah.
I honestly think I'm a bit too old for TikTok now.
TikTok. It's tough, man. Twitter, I think the biggest problem with Twitter though is the instant gratification can be bad.
Yeah.
But that's true of all socials. And
Yeah.
comics are not instant gratification at all, as I'm painstakingly learning.
Yeah, no, it's well, that's the thing because I first mentioned that I was making a comic book, like I said, like I started 2.5 years ago. I first mentioned it about 2 years ago. I was very cautious not to kind of put it out there too much because I kind of wanted to save that hype for as long as possible. And then 3 months before like the Kickstarter released, I kind of started plugging it a bit more. But yeah, no, it's doing well. I'm gonna make a loss on it, like, but I went into it knowing that, um, like my whole thing is like I said, I've always wanted to tell stories. This has given me the opportunity to do it, and I'm just happy to be sharing these stories that have been in my head for years now.
Well, let's try and minimize that loss, guys. Everyone make sure to get to back Orium. Promote him on socials the same way he promotes the rest of us. This guy's great. Get one because you do your things. We're gonna have to make sure we promote you. You promote everyone else, but let's make sure you're getting promotion. Don't be afraid to ask for things.
That's my biggest problem. Yeah, I don't like to ask. Like I'm more of a I'll sit in the corner and share everyone else's and have nice things to say. But yeah, I try not to. I wanted to ask you, but you asked me before I actually got a chance to
Because I
ask
knew
you.
you were good. I had a feeling. I was like, this guy's too nice. He's not going to ask me for promotion. So I was like, I have to do it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's the thing, dude. Yeah, reach out if you're like, hey, do you have contact? Like, I know people that I'm sure would be happy to promote you if need be.
Oh,
So
that's very kind, man.
no, it's the listen. We gotta all help each other out. So no, I don't get nervous about asking people. Especially here's the thing: you've built up a lot of goodwill. Keep doing that. Especially people are going to be happy to promote you. It's the same thing with like, for example, right? Billy Tucci is very kind to me. Rini also very kind to me. Irene Strakowski. So especially because they've promoted me a lot or helped me out in personal level, it's like that gives me extra incentive. Like day one, backing, because it's like I know they've done so much good for me. It's the least I could do. Like
Yeah,
that kind of
definitely.
stuff helps, and I'll promote them. And it's not like I'm not getting anything necessarily from promoting them, other than just feels like the right thing to do. Also helps that they have very good products. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's so, but that's the thing. There's so many fantastic. Like, I wish I had more money, like not just for creating my comic, but like there are so many like comics and the creators out there doing amazing work, and it's just like when I'm seeing ones like not hitting where they need to hit, and I'm just like, I would love to be able to give you more, like, but it is what it is, and I do what I can to help everyone. So yeah, I'll try and ask for more
Yeah,
from
that's good,
people.
man. Yeah, but you're doing well, and let's make sure this is already getting made with or without our help. But if you want to make sure you're helping, or if you just want to get the comic like I do, make sure to do that. Where is the best way everyone can keep up with you?
It's Twitter or
Twitter.
X, whatever your preference is.
I
Yeah.
still call it Twitter.
Oh, same. Like even when I've seen some people call it Exeter, but I was like, no, I'm not
No,
going to call
doesn't
it.
work. Doesn't
Just
work.
Twitter or X. It's one or the other.
Twitter
One.
X or what? I just yeah.
Yeah, it's Twitter. It's always
Yeah,
going to be
exactly.
Twitter
It's
to me.
Twitter, dude. It's Twitter.
Yeah.
It's not like that was a stupid. The logo sucks too. The new logo. It's just how many like we have X Men, X like the movie. Like we how there's so many things with X.
It's yeah. I don't know why you picked X, but
Like at least do I get X is like a cool letter. I get that, but like it's not
yes. So
yeah.
Z though. Like I'm quite partial to Z.
Z. Yeah.
Yeah.
Y.
There's loads of great letters.
W. Although www.w.com probably wouldn't work.
It's
But neither
got
does X. X doesn't
no,
work. It's not a good name.
no. It's
But
yeah.
yeah, anyway, everyone make sure to follow him. Oh, let me go ahead. I'll link your Twitter in the description.
Oh, thanks.
Starmillion 88.
Yeah, that's the one. Someone
What
had
is
already.
what does that mean, by the way? Oh, did someone already link you? Oh no.
Oh no, someone already had start. I thought it was a unique name, but it turns out no. Someone back in 2015 created a Starmillion account. 88 is the year I was born.
Oh,
So
cool. I'm
yeah.
99, so
Oh, nice.
not too far.
And then so yeah, 88's the year I was born, and Starmillion honestly was my old gamer tag on.
Oh, really? Mine was V-Man
Yeah.
Rocks. Well, actually, I went through multiple, but I'm V-Man Rocks. That's mine. For those of you that are
Yeah.
wondering. Dude,
So
what games do you play? I feel like we barely scratched the surface. I mean, like you like comics, you but like I know people never just like one thing. You like video games?
oh yeah, like I'm annoyed. I like my PS5 literally just did a controller update,
Oh yeah.
and now the controller's not working. Like
Oh shit.
just before I came on, because my wife went to bed at like 10:30, so I was like, right, I'm gonna play some Resident Evil, and
Oh, I've been meaning to get into that series.
oh yeah, it's they remastered Resident Evil 2, and it was like free on the PlayStation Plus. So I was like, all right, well yeah, I'm gonna throw back to like my childhood here and play that. But I want to get at Helldivers. Is it Helldivers 2? Like I've seen a lot of hype around that, but
That sounds familiar. I've been playing so I actually wrote like a 49-page video essay on Final Fantasy VII, the original. But I'm putting off doing it because I'm about to do this. But I've been playing this. I'm probably going to actually after this stream, I got some messages about my comics. I'm going to check that. But yeah, I think I'm going to play this after.
See, I always wanted to get into Final Fantasy because all my friends played Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation when it came out, and the first Final Fantasy game I got was Final Fantasy IX. I
No,
loved it.
the creator of the series said that that's his best one.
Oh,
I never played it. I've only played
it,
7.
I really like it. I really enjoyed it. I want to play 7 though because obviously
Play
that's
the
like the
original
iconic
first.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was recommended, and it's what you should do because the new remake, while it's good to play after, there's stuff it does that I just think is either inferior or expects you to know stuff in the original. I'm like, well, then what's the? I'm like, no, you should be explaining it all, but they deviate the story in ways that really, and I'm
Okay.
hoping this one doesn't do it that much. I've heard that the game is great, and then apparently the ending is divisive, so which is
Ah.
what the first one was like too.
Okay, well, yeah, no, I'll need to check because I know they've got the remake and they've got the remaster, I think,
Yeah.
on the PlayStation Store. So I need to pick that up and give that a shot. Because yeah, no, I'm always looking for. I used to love multiplayer games like COD and what,
Oh
like
yeah.
I did go through my little Fortnite phase like a few years ago, which was it was fun at the time. But nah, ever since I played Red Dead 2, I've just been solo games since then.
Oh, Red Dead 2 is amazing, man.
Ah,
Such a good game. Phenomenal. That's probably one of the best story. That and the first Red Dead, 2 of my favorite story-based games ever.
did
I love
you
it.
ever play Undead Nightmare?
No.
That's it's
I've been hearing that it's as good.
yeah, the spin-off from the first one. If you ever get a chance to play
I
that
will
is
have to.
that's really fun. Yeah, but yeah, no, Red Dead. I love Red Dead. I remember one evening I was like, right, I've got like 5 hours. I'm gonna play Red Dead, and I sat down and I fished for like 4.5 hours.
Dude, the pointless mini games, man. It always they get you to
Uh,
learn the mechanics. If the new
yeah.
Final Fantasy was doing that, and I was stuck playing this game mode for like an hour and a half stream yesterday, and I'm pretty sure I privated because I was like, "This stream is garbage." Because I barely, I was so frustrated by the game that I just like, I was so mad. Like, hang on, I'm making sure this is private because this isn't. And you know what's the worst part? I literally hated it so much. I was like, guys, this isn't even entertaining. I'm sorry, I'm stopping the stream. I stopped the stream, and then I win, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, that wasn't recording.
Oh,
It
it's
wasn't
always
recording.
the way. Uh,
Garbage. Otherwise, it was probably salvageable. But yeah, the only interesting part of that stream, of course, was not seen by the public, as typically is the case. What about
yeah.
movies?
Oh, like I love films to be honest. Like
I'm a big movie guy. I majored in screenwriting.
oh, nice. Like
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to do, but my careers advisor told me to go dig holes, so I did that instead because I was a gullible child and I didn't have anyone to turn around and be like, no, go follow your dreams. So I ended up doing them a lot later on in life. But yeah, no films. My favorite film is True Romance. It was one of Tarantino's first films that he wrote, and
Oh, I didn't know that.
Ridley Scott uh, directed it, I believe. It was Ridley Scott, I think.
I
But
had
yeah,
no idea that he wrote a movie before Reservoir. I had no idea. Wow.
it was Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette, and yeah, it's a crazy film. Like that's my all-time favorite film. And plus, like when you tell anyone that, they just look at you and like your favorite film is True Romance, and it's like, yeah, it's not what you think.
Yeah, I looked it up because I was like, there's gonna be a twist here, and then I'm like, guy with the gun on the cover. Okay, it's not.
Yeah, like the premise is like first 5 minutes you find it all out. But yeah, Christian Slater is like a lonely guy who works in a comic book shop, um, and it's his birthday, so he goes to the cinema to go watch like back-to-back free kung fu films, and he meets this woman, and they fall in love, and it turns out she's a hooker that his boss sent round for his birthday present, and but they fall in love, and their whirlwind love story begins from there. If you haven't seen it, definitely give it a shot. It's a very good film.
That's awesome. Well, check that out. Most importantly, check out Orium Saga. I know I'll be backing it. And we're figuring out my next Vaughn Coleman Presents. I think I'm going to have my buddy Narwhal back again for my
Oh,
51st
nice.
episode. He's a very good friend of mine. So keep an eye out for that. I think that's going to be on Monday. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. And
Thanks, everyone.
also, let's leave with the trailer for Phenomenova. If you haven't already, link is in the description if you're watching the video or in the live chat. See you guys next time.
When the whole world was dragged into World War III, brave men like my father fought on the front lines. And they weren't alone. That was 20 years ago. Now it's up to us to carry on their legacy. And every so often, the earth from which we come gives way for something new, something greater to be born. And with them, even greater threats to face. Bring it on! Phenomenova. For you, Dad. For you.